I once had a fiancé named Mike whom I promised to marry, but I couldn't live with him because of my sister Evelyn. During that time, I was deeply distraught. However, I've since found new happiness. It's important for both my sister and my ex-fiancé to understand this. My name is Emma. I'm an ordinary office worker, not particularly beautiful. Back then, I was engaged to Mike, a handsome man at a prominent company known for his looks. We were blissful, believing our happiness would endure. Yet reality dealt a harsh blow. I couldn't marry Mike because of Evelyn. My sister Evelyn has been passionate about fashion since childhood and remains so today. Her beauty has always attracted attention. She was popular with boys since junior high. She even modeled for a fashion magazine once, an experience that fueled her dream of becoming a model. After university, when I started working at a regular company, I was invited to dinner by a business associate, Mike. After several friendly outings, one day he confessed his feelings for me during dinner. I was taken aback by his sudden confession but also drawn to him. Thus, we began dating. A year into our relationship, Mike proposed, and I happily accepted. When Mike and I visited my parents to share the news, they were overjoyed. We discussed wedding plans, and I was thrilled. However, someone was not pleased, my sister Evelyn. Evelyn was shocked and displeased to see me getting married, especially to someone like Mike. More beautiful and more experienced in relationships, she had always looked down on me. I don't want my friends to know how uncool my sister is, Evelyn often said. To her, the uncle's sister she looked down on was about to marry an elite businessman from a major company. This seemed to amplify Evelyn's pride even more. However, I was oblivious to Evelyn's true feelings. Looking back, I should have noticed her attitude at the time. Suddenly, Evelyn asked Mike, "If you're going to be my brother-in-law, can we exchange contact information?" Mike and I saw no reason to refuse, so we agreed happily. There were days when I worked late on handover tasks, planning to quit my job. One day, while my parents were out of town on a trip, Evelyn took action, a plan she must have devised from the beginning. She called Mike over to her house. "Mike, my sister suddenly came home because she got sick. My parents are out on a trip, and I'm scared to be alone. Can you come over?" Evelyn lied, claiming I had returned early due to illness. Mike, just about to leave work, rushed over, unaware of Evelyn's intentions. I heard Emma was suddenly sick, so I rushed over. "Where's Emma?" Mike asked upon arriving. Of course, I wasn't there. Naturally, Mike assumed as much. "I'm sorry, Mike. I lied to you. My sister isn't actually sick, she's still at work," Evelyn confessed. Instead of getting angry, Mike asked calmly, "Why did you lie?" I just really needed to talk to you, Mike," Evelyn began to explain. When I finished work and returned home, I was taken aback to see Mike there, though I greeted him casually, not expecting anything. "Oh, you're here," I said carelessly. Little did I know, I was about to face the greatest despair and sadness of my life. "Emma, I'm sorry. I think we should break up," Mike said suddenly. His words were incomprehensible to me at first. "What? Are you kidding? Break up? What do you mean?" I asked in confusion, trying to grasp the situation. Just then, Evelyn appeared. "Emma, the truth is, I'm dating Evelyn. I'm sorry, but I fell in love with her more than with you," Mike confessed. Still bewildered and unable to believe it, I stood there as Evelyn spoke up. "I'm sorry, but Mike and I are planning to get married," Evelyn declared matter-of-factly. I couldn't comprehend what was happening. Evelyn continued, "You might not want to come to our wedding, but please at least come to the reception." I felt my world crumbling. My fiancé had chosen Evelyn over me, and suddenly, I wasn't wanted anymore. For a while, both my father and mother were deeply concerned. I spent days locked in my room, unable to face the world. Having already resigned from my job, I found myself with nothing to do. My colleagues from work messaged me about the wedding plans, and I simply informed them that we were planning a small family-only ceremony. Months later, I found myself in a new and unfamiliar place, ready to start afresh. I was determined to find happiness again, this time for certain. After isolating myself for a while following the breakup with Mike, a newfound determination stirred within me. "Why do I have to go through this? I'll forget about that man and start anew," I resolved. Things progressed swiftly from there. I discussed my plans with my parents, and with their support, I decided to move out and live independently. My new home was in a serene and green environment, offering tranquility that helped me heal. My parents didn't stand in my way. Instead, they supported me wholeheartedly during the move. As I settled in and took a breather from unpacking, my mother finally shared some news with me. A few days after you retreated to your room, Mike came. I listened to everything about what had transpired between you and Mike, and then she apologized at the end. I didn't understand why my parents were apologizing. Of course, what Mike did is unforgivable, I said firmly. His parents came to apologize too, even kneeling down to express their regret. But then they brought up Evelyn. We know you can't forgive her, but Evelyn is our precious daughter too, my parents explained. Both my father and mother had been deeply troubled by the events. It's only natural that they could not forgive someone like him after what he did to their daughter, my parents continued, trying to justify their stance. Despite my parents' stern words to Evelyn, it seemed she had gone to see Mike. Since then, Mike had been visiting our house every day at the same time, apologizing and pleading for acceptance of his marriage to Evelyn. Reluctantly, my parents had no choice but to relent to Mike's persistence. That's why they apologized to me for accepting their marriage, I concluded quietly. Honestly, I had stopped caring, but I understood my parents' conflicted feelings all too well. It's all over now, and that's okay. Besides, I'm going to meet someone even more wonderful from now on, I assured them, trying to stay positive despite the tears threatening to fall. My mother was in tears and my father looked remorseful, but he managed to smile in response. I said to my parents, when I have a child, I'll rely on both of you a lot. If anything happens, don't overdo it and contact us right away. My mother looked very worried. Once I settled into my new life and found some peace of mind, I started working at a certain restaurant. It was a small place with just a few employees, but it had a bright atmosphere that I really enjoyed. Everyone there was friendly. The manager, Noah, always seemed to be the target of teasing from the part-timers. It was amusing to watch and added to the peaceful vibe of the place. A few months into my job, a fateful event occurred that would impact my future. It happened after closing time when Noah offered me a ride home and confessed his feelings for me. I was torn. Noah is a genuinely good person and his kindness shines through. He's also popular among women due to his attractive personality and looks. However, I couldn't shake the fear of being abandoned again, haunted by past experiences. Perhaps sensing my uncertainty, Noah assured me he didn't need an immediate answer and left it at that. Things were a bit awkward between us for a while. Yet the usual banter with the part-timers and Noah's kind demeanor helped me ease my worries. Maybe my heart had already made its decision. It was during this time that, during a break, I learned something about Noah that surprised me deeply. It turned out that Noah had experienced betrayal from someone he deeply cared about and had endured a traumatic incident at his previous workplace. Noah and I shared a common past of being hurt by those we loved. That day, I decided to walk home with Noah to hear his story. As we strolled together, Noah opened up about his previous job where he had managed a store. Due to an unfortunate incident, the store lost credibility and had to shut down. Noah took responsibility and was subsequently fired. After listening to his story, I felt compelled to share my reasons for working at the current restaurant. No, I began, I came here because... Upon hearing my explanation, Noah nodded understandingly. You did well, he said softly, offering words that warmed my heart. It was exactly what I needed to hear. Acknowledgement that despite hardships, my efforts were valued. I've faced betrayal too, I admitted, recalling my own difficult journey. It wasn't easy. Noah smiled warmly in response. Later that day, Noah confessed something to me. This is how I am, he said, but I hope we can get along well. Encouraged by his honesty, I replied, let's do our best together. From then on, I found myself teased more than ever by the part-timers at the shop, but I was genuinely happy. Days passed, filled with laughter and camaraderie. Then, unexpectedly, I received a second proposal in my life. Of course, I accepted Noah's proposal with a resolve to find happiness, believing in our future together. When I visited my parents for the first time in a while, they were overjoyed. I shared everything with them, and they expressed their happiness, urging Noah, please make our daughter happy. I will definitely make Emma happy, Noah replied confidently. We spent some time together, but then my father hesitantly mentioned, it seems Evelyn and Mike are planning a wedding ceremony. They might send an invitation, but you don't have to force yourself. But I was past caring about Evelyn and Mike. I was happy now, and I wanted to share the happiness. When I told my parents this, they said, "If you say so, Emma. No, we're counting on you if anything happens." A few days later, I received a wedding invitation from Evelyn. Of course, I decided to attend and replied that Noah and I would be coming together. Knowing Evelyn was planning her wedding, Noah and I had already registered our marriage. We felt it would ease the burden on our parents and relatives from having multiple wedding ceremonies. We promised ourselves a celebration once things settled down. On the day of Evelyn's wedding, Noah and I arrived together at the venue. It was a long-awaited reunion with Evelyn and Mike, but Mike appeared somewhat worn out. During the family introductions, I proudly introduced Noah to Mike, saying, "This is my husband, Noah. He is my pride and joy." Evelyn's surprised expression when I introduced Noah was quite memorable. As the event unfolded, I had a strong urge to ask Mike about what had transpired between him and Evelyn on the day my parents and I were absent. At first, Mike seemed hesitant to talk about it, but gradually he opened up. He recounted how Evelyn, aware of my illness that day, had seized the opportunity. She brought strong alcohol and offered it to Mike, who wasn't used to drinking. After just a couple of cups, he became intoxicated. Taking advantage of his state, Evelyn began to seduce him. Mike, impaired by alcohol and unable to think clearly, succumbed to the temptation. "Evelyn is attractive with a good figure," Mike explained, and I was in no state to resist her advances, despite our engagement. He apologized repeatedly, looking remorseful and diminished in my eyes, yet I found myself strangely indifferent. Hearing the truth was enough for me at that moment. Meanwhile, Noah and Evelyn were engaged in their own conversation nearby. I was curious about their discussion, but with Evelyn's wedding ceremony approaching, I decided to inquire later. As we headed home afterward, I asked Noah again, "Didn't you seem a bit angry when you were talking to Evelyn?" "Oh, I told you before, but actually she's the one who cheated on me when we were dating," Noah began, his expression clouded with frustration. "Not only that, but she's also the reason why I was fired from the shop where I used to work." I was taken aback. It's a small world, isn't it? Learning that Evelyn was responsible for Noah's shop closure surprised me even more. Intrigued, I asked him for more details. As Noah explained, Evelyn had begun an affair with a designer shortly after they started dating. She believed it would benefit her modeling career to be associated with someone in the industry. Noah found out about it accidentally, I learned, and naturally, he confronted Evelyn. But instead of admitting fault, Evelyn lashed out at Noah, and they broke up. Fueled by anger, Evelyn retaliated by creating a fake photo of contaminated food supposedly from Noah's restaurant and posted it on social media. With her substantial following as an amateur model, the photo quickly went viral. The negative publicity led to a drop in sales, Noah continued, and ultimately the shop had to close. I was blamed and fired. Noah's bitterness was palpable, but without knowing the true culprit, he had nowhere to direct his anger. It wasn't until a friend invited me for a drink, Noah recounted, that I learned about a conversation linking Evelyn to the demise of a restaurant due to false social media claims. Realizing Evelyn's betrayal and role in his downfall, Noah felt powerless. He decided to start anew in a different place, where fate eventually brought us together. I apologized to Noah, deeply troubled by my sister's actions that had upended his life. "I'm sorry for what my sister did," I said, unsure of how he would react. "I didn't know what to do. I thought you might hate me." "No, Emma," Noah reassured me kindly. "It's in the past. It's not your fault." His forgiveness lifted a weight off my shoulders, and together we resolved to pursue happiness once more. Later, Evelyn faced her comeuppance. She chose our current residence for a photo shoot, aiming to bolster her modeling aspirations with a gravure session amidst its lush greenery. Little did she know, the restaurant she selected for a meal during this visit was Noah's former establishment. Although I had already left Noah's employ by then, I heard about what transpired later. Upon recognizing each other, Noah firmly denied Evelyn entry into his restaurant. "I can't allow you in," Noah stated firmly to Evelyn and the photo shoot staff, citing her past actions and the repercussions he had endured. Stunned and pale, Evelyn had no retort. Noah even threatened to expose her past to the company president where she was about to join, which ultimately led to her losing the gravure shoot deal and tarnishing her reputation in the industry. Furthermore, News came that Mike's company performance had faltered, putting him at risk of demotion. Even my mother expressed concern for their uncertain futures. Despite these events, Noah and I continued to find happiness in each other every day. Today marks our long-awaited wedding day, a testament to our perseverance through adversity. As we celebrated, colleagues from the restaurant where we first met congratulated us, repeating a familiar line amidst laughter. Noah and I solemnly vowed before everyone to cherish our family and uphold our happiness, now and always.